I'm here with Patrik and Sattermon, the current CGO of Fnatic. How are you doing?
I'm very well. It's been a hectic, kind of problematic week in here, I guess, due to all the incidences we had with the CSGO controversy against NIP. But I'm doing well. I'm happy to be here in Bucharest for the first time, checking out the gaming scene here. So yeah, a lot of good things to say about the events. Of course, some minor issues as well. But overall, Patrik is a happy man, or boy, rather, I guess.
Okay, let's move to CSGO.
Yeah.
There was kind of controversy, drama thing with NIP after the overtime failure from the admins. There was quite a rude words from your team, and you didn't accept their behavior. Do you think are they going to be punished for it? Do you think it was okay? What do you think about it in general?
Well, in general, and to ask you what I think about it, I think it was completely wrong by any player to not show respect to your opponent after the game is over. You mentioned some bad words and all that, but that's something we will see in sports, eSports matches, like rivalries. You will see that kind of language, and that's something we have seen in the past as well. So I'm a little bit surprised that the community expect the players that kind of this is their life, basically. They spend so much time into this, and they're going into this, and this is a sport, and they want to achieve better than their opponent. It's a lot of tension going on. So the usage of words like, oh, you guys suck, all that, I'm completely fine with that, honestly. But that should stop the minute the game is over. And obviously during the game, you should show reasonable respect, you shouldn't go over the top, and you shouldn't go for personal insults and such. I don't think you should do that, but then again, it should be rather rough. I like it. I like the rivalries, and that's something we've seen a lot in Counter-Strike. Not too much these days, which I miss a little bit, but that's obviously not a defend in this situation. I think it was kind of an appalling situation where my players didn't show the appreciation to the fact that a player from NIP, get right in this question, turned up after the game, a very controversial game overall, we can probably discuss that later, and didn't shake his hand and just, seal the deal, the game was over, and we should all be friends in the end. We should everybody doesn't need to love each other in respective teams, but at least that game was over, and you should be like, okay, cool, we won it, and thanks for the game, and move on with life. This didn't happen, of course, and I think within a time frame of 10-15 seconds, we didn't ruin what Fnatic has built up over so long time, but obviously we damaged a bit our rather spotless reputation when it comes to showing sportsmanship and fair play. So that was a bit sad, and that upset me, and it probably upset us and myself until an extent. Sorry, my English. That we're of course going to take some precautions. I've already taken some precautions, sitting down, talking to the players, and I think now when we are out of the tournament, we're able to address this in a public way rather than in the tournament, because I think the games were obviously still going on, so it made little sense for us to do big press releases, etc., etc. But worth to mention that we have addressed this situation accordingly with the NIP management, some of their players, and the tournament organizers here. So in terms of the relationship between NIP and Fnatic, I think it's still as good as it was the minutes, the hours, the days before this even happened. So.
Okay. About the performance of the team, they won the Group A over NIP, but then lost to Lemon Ducks. Are you satisfied? Did you think the NIP game was really good, but then again the Lemon Ducks game was lost because so many stupid mistakes, or were they simply a lot better team?
No, I definitely don't think Lemon Dog is a better team than NIP, and we proved that we were able to beat NIP, and we proved that due to the weird circumstances we won against them, and being forced to go into second overtime, where we mentally we already visionized and picture ourselves in a quarterfinal. We were able to once again beat the world's best teams. So obviously I've had high expectations going into the Lemon Dogs game, but I think the controversy, players today, and for a long time I guess they go on the forums, they read the social media, so that was probably a failure on my end, that I didn't isolate the players from that part of the eSport community, so they should have focus on the upcoming game instead of being a part of all this controversy. Instead, I think they were a bit regretful to what happened, because again, in that heated moment, they are not necessarily themselves, but of course they are responsible for it, and we as a management are also responsible for it. But then again, they felt hours after, they came back, they went to the hotel after that game and came back here we saw the video, that didn't look too nice, and I don't know what we were thinking, stuff like that. So obviously that was in their minds when they went into the game against Lemon Dogs. And if you had those thoughts, I think that can actually affect negatively on your performances.
Yeah,
worth to mention as well is that we, coming in from Group A, the winner of Group A, we had to be here 8 or 9 a.m. yesterday morning, and we ended up starting this game like 10:30 in the night. So it was a long, very long day, longer than normally, a lot of things going on. But overall, Lemon Dogs played a solid game, 2-0. So I don't know, we didn't have the luck we had against NIP in the overtime, in the second overtime. Sorry, the overtime we had against Lemon Dogs. So we saw ourselves eliminated by midnight yesterday. So yeah, stressful, tough day, but a lot of wisdoms and lessons to be learned from it.
Okay, what's next for the CSGO team? You work very closely with them. Besides the Red Call MS1 Qualifier Cups, is there any LANs or SEA, something else?
Well, obviously a lot of online leagues going on at this time. ESEA, MSI Beat It, which we unfortunately crashed out from. But nevertheless, we're going to be in MSI Beat It finals later this year in November, due to the fact we're coming in as the reigning champ and also the hosting organization. Besides, DreamHack Winter is of course a big one. EMS, we're playing that. I think we at this point have failed to qualify for the Cologne final. But you know, a lot of online leagues that hopefully gonna result in a few LAN stops as well before November. Because yeah, winter season is normally very busy in CS in terms of LAN events. So actually, yeah, that's what I know right now.
Let's move to StarCraft 2. You had Night End and Hearthstone here,
Yeah.
and especially Hearthstone has been doing really well at DreamHacks, making round of 16 nearly every time.
Yeah.
But this time he didn't made it. What did you think of their performances, and are you happy with them? Especially Hearthstone was really emotional when he made it to the third group stage.
Yeah, Hearthstone is just a joy to follow his career. We picked him up, or if that's the term you're using, we contracted him. As academy player, and now he has grown to become one of the best Protoss players in Europe, I would say. He recently won a tournament in UK, and he has been rather consistent when it comes to performing well on these dream hacks. Unfortunately though, in the group stage 3 he wasn't able to deliver, ended up playing a lot of against a few Koreans, and you know, Koreans, they're tough. They're made of tough material. You know, they are really good players. And I think now in the playoffs we are seeing 16 players, obviously, and 14 of them are Koreans. So I don't know where I'm getting with that, but overall, quite promising result, especially from Hearthstone. A little bit sad that Nightingale crashed out in the second group stage, but we saw some great games from both players. So I mean, StarCraft is actually a game that is next to Counter-Strike very close to my heart. I've been playing StarCraft 1 for a very long time. I wouldn't say I'm good at it, but I can obviously like understand what's going on, and I really love the mechanics and the history of the game. So yeah, I'm trying to follow as much as possible. So it's indeed very exciting to follow a young guy like Hearthstone, see what's going to happen with him, because he's still very young and he has the future ahead of him. So let's see what's going to happen in the end of this year, going to DreamHack Winter and a few other tournaments. Yeah, I'm positive that he can place in the medals eventually.
Okay, year of Hearthstone, by the way.
Years of Hearthstone, yeah, year of Hearthstone.
Let's move from Bucharest to Fnatic in general. Your LOL team, they won the spring and summer splits of LCS Europe, and now they're going to World Finals this weekend. I think they're already at the LA.
Starting today, yeah.
Okay. Have you set like any exceptions for them? Like, do you think they should make the playoffs or anything like that? I don't know. Predictions. Yeah,
predictions.
That's the word I'm looking for.
I think the ambition for every player we have in Fnatic, we always have like medals, gold medals even, as a goal. If it's realistic or not at any given moment, hard question to answer obviously. And going into the World Finals, hey, it's World Finals, right? So you expect to have the best teams there. I think they're starting tonight, or probably tomorrow morning, our time here in Europe, against Vulcan. And I expect us to get a really good start. And Fnatic, you know, in League of Legends, I think we are really good when it really matters, to be honest. During the group stage of the LCS summer split, too complicated names these, we struggled a bit, and then we ended up obviously at Gamescom. We qualified for that the final event there, and yeah, we made it all the way to the gold medal, which obviously is a proof that when it really matters, we're able to perform. So yeah, if we get a good start in the group stage, I think we can get fairly deep into the tournament, and then it's just a matter of having a better day than your opponent. So I definitely think us being a Western team, and when I say that, I include the Europeans and the Americans, I think we have the best shot of beating the Asian teams, to be honest. Because as far as I'm concerned, with limited knowledge in the League of Legends scene, I do think that the Asian teams are the best teams right now. But yeah, Fnatic has a decent chance of beating them, I think, if the moment is right.
Yeah. Reckless is going back to the lineup after this season as Mushu.
Pushu.
Yeah, I always messed it up. Pushu is leaving, and Reckless is coming back, and you decided to let Pushu play at the World Finals. Was the decision hard? Because very sure Reckless has been really active with the team, not maybe practicing, but following and stuff like that. How do you think the team is going to play with Reckless? I mean, he's one of the best players in Europe right now, but he hasn't been practicing, from what I know, with the team.
Okay.
Do you think you're going to be like replacing Pushu? Do you think you're going to be a bit behind other teams for next season because you need to start practicing again with Reckless?
So actually we have played with Reckless once in a while when someone falls ill or someone has something else to do. So he has been living with us in the German gaming house we have since like the summertime. So yeah, he's been there a few months now, and he tried to help them with analyzing the game, getting that like bystanders perspective, so he can like tell them what he thinks is wrong. So he's been working very close with them, and also again practice with them. However, back to the decision of obviously allowing Pusher to play in the World Finals, that was a simple decision, I think, in the end of the day, because Reckless turns 17 the year you have to, I mean, as old as you have to be to play in the LCS, 20th, and it starts today. So today, at this moment, actually, Reckless is playing with Copenhagen Wolves here as a stand-in in DreamHack Bucharest, and he's only 16, so he couldn't be there and play, basically. Which means, do you play the first games in the LCS World Finals with one player and you swap in the middle of the tournament? I think in sports like football, potentially, you have an 11-man lineup. It could work, something like that. But I think now you have to be so close to each other. You have to go into the game very well prepared, and you simply don't let one guy just play a few games and then expect Reckless to come in and perform, because it's a lot of strategy involved. It's a lot of preparations. You have to like channel when it really matters. So I think it was a decision that really made sense. And hey, Reckless, he has a very bright future ahead of him, and hopefully within Fnatic for many years to come.
Okay, let's move to the other MOBA game, Dota 2. Fnatic's Dota 2 team made it the top 8 at the International 3 with some amazing games, but then fall short against, I think it was Orange eSports.
It was Orange eSport, yes.
Yeah. What did you think about their performance, and what can we expect from the Dota team from next? What tournaments? They're a really busy team, from what I know.
I was actually very disappointed at that very moment we lost, because I think we actually had it. Again, limited knowledge in MOBA, but also to the managers we have in Fnatic I've spoken to. It felt like we could actually have won that game, and if we were, I mean, I think it was in the lower bracket, especially, like you play best on one map until a very late stage. It's like a coin toss, you know. So if we would have a little bit more luck on one aspect of the game, we could have went very far, being one of the top foreign teams. Sorry, when I say foreign teams, I'm like thinking like in StarCraft 2 terms, but Western teams with Alliance and Na'Vi. And I think we were the only team besides Alliance that beat Na'Vi, who placed second. We opened up 2-0 against them in the group stage. Group stage is one thing, and playing in the grand final is another thing, but we do certainly have the potential to be there. So yeah, top 8 is amazing, it's within the money, but knowing that we had a boot camp for a couple of months, we went into the tournament very well prepared, and yeah, it just felt like, again, from speaking to my peers in Fnatic, that we could have done better, basically. But hey, being the best top 8 team in the world is not a bad thing, I guess, considering the fact that 1.5 years ago, we were a home team with this current lineup, and now they transformed successfully into Dota 2, and looking forward to TI4. Even that, it saddens me that it's like 11 months ahead, because it was such an amazing event, and it kind of made me be consumed of Dota. So I'm actually sitting and playing some Dota here every now and then, even here at DreamHack Romania. It's just such a fun game. A lot of cool, I love the mechanics and the gameplay and all the strategy, and like, yeah, I'm just started basically, so I can imagine how much knowledge and wisdoms you can gain from playing it, and obviously the years of experience of players show. So it's very exciting game to follow, definitely.
Okay. StarCraft 2, you have Night End, Hearthstone, Sase, and then as professional players, and then you have 5 or 6.
Yeah, we have Pink, Sandster, we have Mini Racer, and we do have Hello Kitty in America. Sorry if I forgot any names now, but it's been a long day.
Nama and Chicnomania, I think.
Nama as well, of course. Yeah, but he's considered as a professional player in Fnatic. So. Yeah, he's not belonging to our academy team, and yeah, he's been with us for, what is it now? More than a year, definitely. 1.5 years, I think. Yeah.
Do you have any plans to pick new players? I mean, you used to have a Korean StarCraft 2 players, but then you shut down the Korean house and let them go, and they moved to Evil Genius and teams like that. Do you have any plans to pick new players?
I don't think we're going to pick up Korean players at this point, and I think we are fairly stacked and well represented when it comes to all the races in StarCraft 2. So I think the answer to that question at this point is probably no. We're kind of happy with our current StarCraft 2 team, and I think we have seen some progress in terms of like the team spirit and how they perform in team games. The tournaments when you play as a team. So we have done some great achievements there so far, so that's going to be exciting to follow as well. So yeah, answer is no to that question. I think we are as stacked as we can be at this point.
Okay. One more question about CSGO.
Sure.
You changed the Swedish and Danish team. You replaced them with the full Swedish lineup in the summer. But the Polish squad of ESC Gaming, all friends of yours, they were also available for recruitment. Did you think of picking them, or why back the Swedes?
It's the proven formula, isn't it? Looking back at the history of Counter-Strike, we have seen a lot of good teams from all around the world, basically, but Swedish teams have always been consistently good at it. So we had the legacy, we had the story, and we had the talent base, player base, to just year after year feed and inject the community with new players. So it was a fairly easy decision at that point as well. We did, of course, consider other options, like can we get Very Games? Could we do something with the Copenhagen Wolves player? And of course ESC, especially Taz and Neo, we were thinking about doing something with them. But in the end, it felt like a natural decision to get back to our roots, being a Swedish team and a talented team, young team. We show some expressions of a young person's minds the other day when they obviously ended up in a controversy against NIP. But overall, I'm kind of excited about CSGO. So I think with this team we can reclaim some kind of former glory in the end of this year, hopefully placing in the top 3 on a more consistent basis.
So let's move to the final part of the interview. Let's talk about you and eSport in general. You work as Chief Gaming Officer of Fnatic. What does your normal day consist of?
A little bit of everything. Going to a lot of events. I still rake up like 80 to 100 traveling days a year. But when I am not traveling, I'm based in our London HQ, where we're at this point 6 full-time staff, management. And only actually, funny story, or interesting story, I guess, only 3 months back we were only 3 of us. So I think we have really expanded a lot the past month, and now we're getting a really nice structure together. So if you would have asked me this question like a few months back, I would say that I do a little bit of everything, like marketing, PR, sales, player management, content creation, working with our sponsors in terms of product development. But now we're trying to make people like myself focusing on a few less things, basically, so we can optimize that instead. But yeah, it's really exciting times. I think Fnatic has grown to become a very recognizable brand, very successful team, and we have a very bright future ahead of us, I'm sure. So I'm just full of a lot of enthusiasm at this point, knowing that we have grown so much at this point and expand and taking in new people. We have a winning League of Legends team, we have a young aspiring Counter-Strike Go team, and we have a Western-based StarCraft 2 team at this point, and of course the Dota team and a few other divisions we have in Fnatic. So we are very diverse, and that's something I really like, and that's something I, as a Chief Gaming Officer, will always push for. So including in that is, in my job as CGO, I try to be on my toes looking for new titles as well. Because, like League of Legends, 2-3 years ago, it wasn't a part of the eSport world as we know it. And what is the next game going to be? It's very hard to stand here and answer that question. So that's something we're obviously trying to look into as well. Like, what will the next game be? Will it be on PC? Will it be on console? And the strategy overall, and something that has proven to be quite successful, is to have a diverse approach, supporting multiple teams from multiple countries. So right now in Fnatic, I think we have a player base of around 30 players based in 14 countries, I believe. So yeah, it's kind of exciting times. So a lot of travels in Patrik's life, alongside a lot of interesting projects. Some worth to mention at this point, obviously running the MSI BD campaign, which is gonna be finalized in Beijing later this year. And yeah, traveling to events like this, DreamHack Romania, and trying to use my expertise, my experience coming from a professional player background, helping our younger players as well. So I don't know if that made any sense what you said, but it's a lot of stuff to do in eSport right now. Because again, eSport is completely new. No one has done it before. You cannot go into the library or Google it. You cannot like find out what's the perfect way to run a business in eSport. It's very hard. So we are a lot of like trial and error, trying to try out new things, being innovative, but at the same time having a solid strategy. So yeah, exciting times.
Let's talk about MSI Beat It for a while. It's the biggest CSGO tournament, but the prize money is like 40% of the overall prize pot, because 60k is spent on traveling and hosting teams, I think. Yeah,
finances is probably not my strongest arsenal, but worth to mention here is we are the first, I'm pretty sure, to run a global campaign in Counter-Strike. Global actually is not the right word, because we're not including Africa and South America, but overall compared to our competitors in the execution of tournaments, we are inviting teams from Middle East, new region in CSGO, Southeast Asia, the Australia and New Zealand region, America, Europe, China, Korea, Taiwan, Japan. So I think this will actually be, it will for fact be the first tournament where you see multiple continents represented, and that's something I think we are bringing to the table that someone else hasn't thought about before. Now, something we need as well at this point of eSport. You see a lot of Western teams, particularly European teams, that are dominated, but we know now at this point, 2013, that in order to be a successful eSport game with a bright future, you need to involve the whole world, basically. Otherwise, you will be eaten up by people like Riot, Blizzard, or whatever, you know. So that's what we're trying to do, and in order to achieve this, we of course need to support these countries with travel support, and we also need to create online campaigns and also a few on-site qualifiers where some of the prize money and travel money gets channeled through. So for example, next weekend we'll have a tournament in Dubai and the Middle East area there with I think a $3,000 prize pool, including, and plus on top of that traveling money to Beijing. So yeah, I think that's something I'm giving back to the community. I hope that people will appreciate that as well. But yeah, in terms of looking at the prize money balance, I think we announced a $100,000 prize pool and travel support. But I'm pretty sure it has actually expanded since. So it's going to be even more when we go into the Beijing finals. Because in total it's going to be like 15 qualifiers. So people should not always look at how much money the winning team are getting. Sometimes they had to see the big picture, because we are running a campaign lasting for 5 months and involving probably 25 countries, where you're going to see a lot of people and new players getting a decent prize pool and prize checks and travel support as well. So yeah, it's not like ESWC or CPL back in the days where we like gave one team $50,000 and like people outside top 4, top 8 didn't get anything. So yeah, we hopefully people are gonna appreciate that.
Behind the scenes, the tournament has been criticized a lot because it's
really?
I've heard a lot and I have been talking about it.
Okay.
But
what did they say?
Basically, they're saying that it's kind of a stupid move, because 100k for CS:GO, and CS:GO is kind of low game in terms of viewership. What do you personally think, and what could CS:GO add to get more popular in terms of viewers?
Viewers, you mean?
Viewers.
Well, no, by all means, my English is by no means perfect. So I think one good step is obviously to make the game free to play eventually, because Dota, League of Legends, the games you see the young people, the next generation of gamers are playing when you walk around at places like, even here, but also like DreamHack Winter is a great example, which I like to bring up at these occasions. So if you walk around there, you see like, where's CS? Like 5 or 6 years ago, everybody played this game, but now it's like rarely FPS shooter. So yeah, free to play is a great step to, but also the game, first and foremost, the game needs to be really good and really fun, first and foremost, because we wouldn't be here today unless a lot of people, millions of people, appreciated Counter-Strike, the game it was back in '99, because it was fun from the beginning. If CSGO was as fun as CS, the first bit of CS was to '99, very hard question for me to answer, because I'm 28 now. But I can imagine though that a young kid today, it's an easier gateway to get into the eSport world through games like Dota, games like League of Legends, or even like consoles, FIFA, Call of Duty, or something like that. I feel it's fairly complicated to get involved and being engaged in CSGO at this point. It's fairly hard to like team up with your friends, find reasonable matchmaking, finding servers, a lot of settings involved. I think if we can simplify that procedure a bit, I think we will have an easy time to attract a new fan base and therefore a larger viewership. On top of that, I think we need to just spread our wings and reach out in the world on a more on a higher level than we're doing at this point. At this point, again, activating a lot of events in Europe, few in America, but that's about it really. Have you ever heard about a tournament in Asia, for example? Maybe one or two, but that's about it. Yeah. So hopefully MSI Beat It will help out on that in that aspect. But yeah, we really need to work on the game as well. It has to start with that, basically.
Okay, I wish you best of luck with MSI Beat It, but let's move to your pro gaming career. You stopped playing Counter-Strike 1.6 almost 1.5 years ago.
Something like that, yeah.
And you have made few appearances as a stand-in for Fnatic. I think it was DreamHack.
Oh. Yeah, DreamHack Summer. Okay. I was the best fragger in the group stage.
Wow! Congratulations. The question I was going to ask is that do you miss life as a pro gamer, or are you very happy chief gaming officer?
Yes, occasionally I really miss playing, and one of these moments is probably when I'm standing behind a team and I see something happening, like we make a decision or a move that I wouldn't really like. I would like, come on, kid, move away. I want to go back and playing this. But at the same time, by getting a bit older and all the motivation and energy, time especially, I've put into Counter-Strike, I think I reached a point in March last year where I felt like, yeah, maybe time to do something else with my life and my creativity and my future career. And I think the timing was right. CS 1.6 was on a decline at this point. We knew that CSGO was coming up. A lot of organizations, such as NIP, were starting to prepare for that. ESL, DreamHack, and all of these people, they started to plan for CSGO. And at that age, again, age is not everything, but I think at 27 it's very hard to find the time and the motivation you need to be a successful player in any kind of game, basically. So I don't regret that decision, but of course sometimes I would love to just go back to the time when you like just chill out with your mates in wins or losses, just go out after the tournament, have a good time. The practice around it was amazing, but of course I don't necessarily miss spending 40 to 80 hours a week practicing the game, basically, and that's something we did in Counter-Strike. So I put my time into other things now and trying to help the development of eSport, and hopefully we at Fnatic are doing something right at least.
Okay. A lot of former players, such as 1.6 players and CSGO, like Cuban and Lord, they have retired recently. Yeah. Do you keep contact?
Retarded. Retired.
Yeah, retired. Yeah. Sorry for my English. Do you keep contact with a lot of your, let's say, not teammates, but friends like ESC Gaming and ASCO Gaming? Do you keep a lot of contacts with them, right? even if you don't play and they don't play?
Well, not really on a daily, weekly or monthly basis, but every now and then, of course, I bump into people at events like DreamHack Romania here, and it's not like I don't speak to Forrest Getright, even that we ended our collaboration in fairly controversial way in end of 2010. We're still friends, and including all the enemies we had, ESC, we had Navi, a few of them in Astana Dragons now, Mouse Sports, whatever. Of course, at events we just say hi, what are you doing now, and sometimes even like going back on the memory lane and discussing things that happened back in the days and say like, oh yeah, it was way better back then. But I'm not sure if it was. I mean, I think eSport has reached a very interesting point now. People can win millions as a professional player. I think that is quite amazing. That wasn't the case when we were young, so to speak. So maybe the timing is probably what I miss a little bit, because eSport compared to, like, say peak of CS 2006, 2007, arguably, I don't know, and the hype of eSport, big eSport events now, we have like million people. I would love to be a part of that somehow as a player, you know. Maybe that's egoistic to say, whatever. I mean, we obviously somehow help this development. But yeah, that's something probably, I don't regret it, but of course the timing, it would be amazing to be a part of the player part in 2013, because I mean, it's just amazing right now.
Okay. Just a week ago, we saw the 2005 lineup of NIP playing as the CSGO team. Yeah. Fnatic has housed teams in 1.6 Source and Global Offensive. Yeah. Are you considering hosting a best of 3 match in all of those 3 games for the current team, and maybe some old team of you, DSN and Pole, maybe?
I think I need to add a firewall to my brain here, because actually that is something we have been thinking about for a while now. It's funny that you brought that up. Yeah, of course, we're thinking about doing similar events and have been thinking about that for quite a while. But all the respect to NIP, they did a really cool event there. I think a lot of people appreciate it. I'd see the old dogs getting back, and what I would think they should have gotten smashed by the young generation, the new team, but I think they ended up winning. I didn't follow it, but I heard a lot of good things about it. So yeah, we're thinking the same terms, like doing maybe something with Navi or ESC, maybe going back to Fnatic 2009 and play them, do some charity thing around it, something like that. But time hasn't been there, basically, but it's in the makings.
I hope we see something like that, because that sounds really good. But my final question is that what is the best memory of your esport career so far, and what can we expect next from you? Where can we see you?
Best memory? I don't know. Probably like one memory is like starting with the actual pro series, and I mean that was probably one of my like best moments, I guess, and best decisions I made. And that was like I just went into my boss. I was working at a petrol store in Sweden in 2006, I think, and said like, so this summer I'm gonna be quite busy playing contracts. I cannot work here anymore. And that was the same time I got contracted by Fnatic. But also like in terms of the sport part and winning part, the best memory is probably IM Kiev Europe 2011, when we have recreated Fnatic with Exist, Dalpan, Pita, me and DSN. No one expected us to win that tournament. Probably it was only ourselves in that hall and all the HLTV servers, whatever, that thought it was possible. But hey, we were standing there. I think it was a 20k prize check, and yeah, I felt fairly invincible at that point. Not a good thing to feel like that, because eventually things turned a bit dire that year. But overall, I'm very proud about 2011, where we were able, without like conventional star players, to perform pretty damn well, I would say, winning 3 international events. So yeah, 2011 I'm very proud of, and especially of course winning Kiev. That was one of my best moments, I think.
Okay. And where can we see you next, and do you have any final words for the watchers?
Yeah, where you see me next? Yeah, I will be back in the London office. I'm going to try to throw in a live stream every now and then, some CS 1.6, some CSGO, and maybe some Dota even, I don't know. But in terms of my next event, that would probably be, I don't know, maybe I'm going to head over to LA if we make it deep into the World Finals of LCS there. But you can find me on Twitter, you can find Fnatic on Twitter, and of course Facebook and our website. Thanks for watching, everyone out there. It's cool to catch up with you guys, and I wish you the best of luck in the future.
Okay, I actually have one more question, because you said streaming.
The final one for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, but that's just me being retarded.
It's fine.
Yeah, you said live streaming, and you'll be streaming CSGO 1.6, and now it's maybe Dota, but you also host podcast, a CSGO weekly with Torin and Lurpis.
That's right.
How did that start, and do you have any special episodes planned?
Well, I think the next episode will probably be kind of like a special one, because we haven't had one in like 2 weeks now, and also we're gonna have all the controversy, and obviously most importantly the performances here at DreamHack Romania to discuss about. That will probably be Tuesday, Wednesday-ish this week. And how did podcast started? I don't know, like I guess a lot of people with a lot of inside knowledge in CS probably know that neither myself or Lurpis, we weren't necessarily the best friends back in the days. Maybe we're not today either, but like we sit on a lot of like experience and a lot of knowledge, and sometimes we represent different parties on different topics. So I think it sometimes becomes like really interesting for the audience, something that we have been missing as well in CSGO, CS and FPS world. So that was actually something I was thinking about when we put this together. Like this, we're missing this. We have so much history, so much to discuss, but we don't have like a platform for it. So I just reach out to Lurpis and Thorin and say, hey guys, are you game? Not gay, game, sorry. If they were, I'm totally fine with that in this world we're living in. So yeah, we created this pilot episode, and things turned out pretty well. And I think we're averaging like 3,000 or 4,000 viewers. But it's not about that. I tell you what, like after episode we're doing, we like turn off the live stream, and sometimes we can sit like another 2 or 3 hours just discussing things and debating things. So yeah, we just do it because we're very passionate about eSport, and particularly the FPS, CSGO and CS 1.6.
Okay. Thank you for the answer, thank you for the interview, and I wish you best of luck.
You too. Thank you.